What's going on, y'all? Another episode of I Don't Make the Rules, but this is a really special one. I got somebody I look up to. I've known about since I was a young guy. It was just a legend in my eyes, for that matter. But Rob Murphy, yeah. Rob Murphy. You would never know this or remember this, but I remember the first time I met you. You offered my best friend Yante Maiden. Well, childhood best friend, whatever. But you offer Yante, and I remember we were, because B Artist Dad was working with you.
Yes, Coach
Yeah.
Benny White.
Yeah, so I remember you guys had team camp, and me, Khalil, shout out to Khalil Gracie and Armand Cartwright, we was about to go get some food after a game, and you had told Yante like he had to come
To the office.
and holler at you.
Yeah.
And I remember it was in the basement at Eastern. And Yante was like, y'all do not leave without me to go get some food kind of thing. And I just remember him coming down like Eastern just offered me. And I was like, oh, wow. And then you came down and I was like, oh, there's the coach. You shook my hand or whatever. And I was like, he'll never remember me.
But here's the thing. Should I blame you for not getting it?
Nah.
We didn't get him.
Nah, you don't blame me for that.
I can't blame you
You
for
blame
that.
Izzo.
Because that's one that got away that I really wanted.
Yeah.
And at that time, I was trying to implement all the philosophies and get the top players, especially the top sleepers.
Yeah.
Because he was like a late bloomer, and he wasn't highly recruited at the time.
Yep.
But I thought he was good enough to play in the NBA, in which he did and had his stint where he made a run, but had a great college career. But that's one that I thought got away that could have, and I was able to raise the level of the program.
Yep.
But he could have took me to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
So just joking about not getting him through you, but he was one of the guys that I lost that I kind of regret to this day. And I don't regret a lot.
Right.
But he was really good.
Yeah, Yante was definitely one of those guys. His college career, I never missed a game, so
Yeah.
I watched every single game, man. He was truly one-on-one. Eastern at that time, I remember you had guys like Ray Lee. Who else? I know. Who?
We had Michael Talley, who had
Yeah.
transferred back from Duquesne. Ray Lee came to us right out of high school.
You had a dude with a lot of bounce.
James
too.
Thompson
Yeah.
was one of the best bigs in the country.
Yep.
He had actually signed with SEC school.
Okay.
And then some things happened where we were able to fall back and get him that summer.
Okay.
But yeah, had a really good team. That's when
Yeah.
the needle was really moving. But had a great run. I mean, I wanted to make sure I dominated the in-state recruiting when it came to mid-major programs. And I thought during my tenure between us and Oakland, it was a battle, but we did that. I missed out on a guy like a Kahil Felder, Yante Maiden, and a few guys, but for the most part, Glenn Bryant and Deshaunte Riley, who helped raise the level of Eastern Michigan when I first arrived. And then because of those two guys, being from Michigan, being high-level recruits, Syracuse and Arkansas at the time, for them to transfer in, it kind of gave us a little bit of a push to say that it was okay for you to attend Eastern Michigan University.
Yep.
So then we get the bounce back of Mike Talley. Then we get Ray Lee out of high school. Those four guys in particular being from Michigan, you know, I credit a lot to those guys for helping me raise the bar and the level at Eastern Michigan for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Nobles brothers or whatnot.
Yeah, then those guys allowed me to get a versatility, a player like a Jordan Nobles, who I thought, you know, he was like an unsung hero with our success, having him in the program for 4 years. But more importantly, when he started to make that impact his junior year on both ends of the floor, playing multiple positions, anywhere from 1 to the 5. But all of those Michigan guys, you know, people ask me, well, how did you have a 10-year run at Eastern Michigan? It's really hard to do at a mid-major program,
Very hard.
especially when you are working with one of the lowest budgets in the conference and throughout the country when it comes to mid-major basketball. But when you can get players, I tell people all the time, coaches put you in position, but players are the ones that get it done. And I thank those Michigan guys, and then it allowed me to go out throughout the country once we started to win some ball games. And I was able to get guys from, you know, whether it's New York, Baltimore, Atlanta, California. So it became a mid-major program, and because of my relationships throughout the country, I was able to continue to move the needle.
Yeah, and speaking of relationships and you moving the needle, I did a lot of homework on it, you know.
Okay.
So we're gonna take it back to your Crockett days.
Oh man,
Yeah,
fun
yeah,
times,
yeah. So
genuine times.
yeah, I mean, I'm a Detroit native, so I know about Crockett. A lot of these new kids, now I call y'all 2000s babies. Y'all don't know about what Crockett really would be, but you know, you a legend there and things like that. So just kind of speak on that in Detroit at that time and coming through that era.
Yeah, so when getting into coaching, you know, something my high school coach told me I should really look into as a high school student, a student athlete. Coach Venus Jordan, who was my head coach at Mumford, he told me that I wasn't a pro, I wasn't good enough to play in the NBA, but he also shared with me, you know, his thoughts of me about being a great communicator and a great leader
Right.
at the time. And I was always a leader in any situation I was involved in.
Right.
So when I went to school and majored in education, when I came back, my first teaching and coaching assignment was at Central High School.
Right.
So I was fortunate enough to get that break and start coaching with a close friend in Aronde Telefero.
Central on Linwood.
On Linwood. Dexter Linwood.
So my family's church was on Linwood and Cortland.
Okay.
New Greater First.
Yeah.
We were there for all the way up until probably like 2016. But
Gotcha.
that was my family's church right there.
Yeah, so I grew up right on Dexter Linwood off Calvert Street.
Oh wow.
In my, you know, young days when I was really, really young until I was about 6 or 7. So to start my coaching career there, you know, you walk into the building and you have, you know, at 15 and 16 years old, you have Antonio Gates, you have Dwight Smith, you have Dante Darling, you have Jimmy Twyman. So we walked into a program that had a lot of talent, but not a lot of direction. We were able to take those young guys, and us being young guys ourselves, we were able to relate to those guys. In our first year, we went to the state finals, and then the second year, we won the state championship at Central. And that was the year Antonio and Dante graduated, and I wanted to get off and go off on my own, and that's when, you know, the Crockett job became about. Interviewed at Crockett, at Renaissance at that time, at Northwestern. There was a lot of job openings in the PSL. I interviewed for all these jobs, and I only could get an offer from Crockett. Now, you got to remember, at that time, Crockett was a brand new program.
Okay.
When I was at Central High School, they were in their second year of existence. We mercy ruled them. Like, so when we got up 40, the clock would one. We beat Crockett by like 60.
Right.
So I kept saying to myself, man, I don't really want to take this job. They don't have a gym. The school is in a trailer.
Oh my God.
It's no resources there for you to win. But it was my only opportunity at that time. And at the time, I'm maybe 23, 24. I'm like, okay, I was the associate head coach at Central. Me and Coach Telefero started there together, but I wanted to go run my own program. That was my only opportunity. So I said, you know what? They believe in me as a young coach. They gave me the opportunity. And then I just went to work, you know, and I started with recruiting, you know, the best 8th graders. And I started looking for players who wanted to transfer.
Right.
And within my first year, I was not able to get any. We only won like 6 or 7 games. And then that next year is when I got Andre Johnson, Maurice Hager, Rob Richardson. We took a huge jump from 6 games to like 19 wins, won a district title. And then in year 3, we were able to win the state championship. But what I most remember about those times, because it was a grind. Anytime you have success, it's a grind behind it. Nothing is easy. But getting players to believe in myself and in my vision, coming to a school without a gym, school was in a trailer, and we only had like 400 students. But to get them guys to believe in what I was selling and what I believe we could do there, and then actually doing it.
It lit a fire in you.
Oh man, it was like the highlight of my life, and I still go back to those days because those were it was just fun. It was just genuine.
Right.
And then, you know, obviously in building, you know, winning at Central and then, you know, winning at Crockett, in between that, you build all these relationships. So I'm working Nike All-American Camp. I'm working Adidas. We became a VIP school with Sonny Vaccaro under Adidas. So now working the All-American camps, I'm coaching all the All-American kids. So within doing that, you building relationships with all the top AAU coaches around the country.
Right.
And at that time, in taking over Crockett, I ended up starting an AAU team with Chris Greer, you know, the Michigan Hurricanes. That's how it all developed. He had Anthony Robeson, Olu Famotini, Matt Trannon. I had Maurice Ager. I had means to Walter Waters, Brandon Jenkins. So me, him, and my close friend Rodney Murray, we kind of sat down because he was leaving the Mustangs, and we told him, why don't you go to Sonny Vaccaro and see would he have a second Adidas team in Michigan, because it was already the Mustangs.
Yeah.
Well, he shared that vision with Sonny Vaccaro. We all met him, started the AAU program, and it became one of the top 5 AAU program in the country, but we were winning championships. So through the AAU sector, through the All-American Camp sector, I was building relationships nationally, what would pay off for me when I did become a college coach and on to become a head coach during my tenure. But going back to Crockett, that kind of got my career jump started. And again, taking a guy like Maurice Aker,
Yeah.
who was on JV at Southfield, who saw the vision and wanted to be great, wanted the opportunity to start as a sophomore. And, the first kid that I actually, saw work tirelessly to get better each and every day.
And he's seen the NBA.
Yeah, and he did. I mean, from that hard work, and that was his dream. He wanted to be one of the top players in the country. He wanted to pick a school, and he wanted the opportunity to go to the NBA, and obviously 1 or 2 years like every other kid. But he did a really good job of working hard. He went from unranked to ranked to becoming top 30 in a matter of 2 or 3 months once he got on the circuit. Then winning the state title always helps, and then continuing to, work extremely hard. And then when the college coaches came in, he wanted to stay at home, be close to family. Landed on Michigan State, and Coach Izzo did a great job with him in continuing his development. And he was able to get to the NBA as a first-round pick, had a really good career. And the grind, though, that I remember from him, it was the grind, the determination, the discipline. One of the few guys throughout my career that nothing else mattered but hard work. And he really put it in.
Do you guys still keep in touch?
Yeah, I still keep in touch with Mo Ager. Yeah, he was texting me the other day talking about the movie. I mean, because the era of Crockett has to be in there. You can't write a book or make a movie without that being shown, because it was such a moment in my career that was a defining moment that I'll never forget.
Right. And speaking of the book, it's called Deep, right? And y'all need to definitely go grab Deep for sure. But to add on to that, it's interesting because the life of Rob Murphy, that's literally what I titled this podcast.
Is that right?
Yeah, I swear. So I didn't see, like, I knew about the movie and the book and everything else, but I had never seen that you put the life of Rob Murphy, and that was the name of this podcast. And the more interesting aspect of it, when I talked to you earlier today, and I said we got a lot of similarities, and shout out to Coach Stan. He was like, you guys will definitely be able to
connect.
Two peas in a pie kind of thing. How you say you guys started and how you're going about, your journey still is interesting, because me and 2 of my very close friends in the last couple weeks had some connections with a certain shoe brand that reached out to us about some stuff that's very similar to what you said, and it just kind of like sparked in my mind, kind of like, wow, it's funny how life repeats itself in a lot of ways.
Of course.
So that AAU circuit and being around certain kids from 8th grade and realizing it definitely, it's a big, thing to it. I mean, Jordan McDaniels.
I mean, we got some obviously great talent here in Michigan, but you mentioned Jordan. He's one of the special talents.
Yeah.
And I talked about Maurice Ager and his work ethic, and I've seen guys work over the years, but Jordan McDaniels is one of those guys that will outwork you. Sometimes you can have the skill and the ability to make an impact all over the court, and he's a two-way player. He loves to play both sides. But at the same time, he puts the work in morning, noon, and night, literally.
Yeah.
Morning, noon, and night.
And he likes to do it. That's the difference.
No, loves to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not likes.
He love it.
He loves the work.
Yeah.
And I tell people, just in simplicity terms, the work works.
Yeah.
Just stay focused on the work. Mm-hmm. It will work for you. So just seeing his continued development, his continued confidence, and even having, my own daughter who's a high-level athlete, but in the lacrosse sector.
Yeah, I've been seeing that.
Yeah, she's really good, and she's at USA now on the lacrosse side. So when I go see her, I'm watching her play against the top players in the country throughout her class and different class levels. And I tell people all the time, like, I know I'm on the basketball side, but to have a daughter that's doing the same exact thing but in another sport, is gratifying for me because lacrosse is a lot like basketball, a lot of similarities. But understanding the discipline and the commitment that it takes, and then watching her do it, as I watch a guy like Jordan McDaniel do it at that young age, the determination and, you know, obviously the skill level and where they're trying to go in their lives, it starts early. So now it's instilled. So you talk about Jordan McDaniel, he's one of the best in the country. And I enjoy watching him, and obviously his father, Greg, is very instrumental into that development. You need, you know, obviously to have your parents, you know, backing you, your coaches backing you, your support system that backs you. It has to all come together for you to, you know, reach the highest level of your success. And I think they'll get there because of the hard work.
Yeah, for sure. And then it's actually another thing that's interesting too is I'm a newly father of a little girl. And so,
Congrats.
yeah, appreciate that. So you touching base on being a girl's dad. Like, what's obviously I know you enjoy just being at the games and stuff like that, but I mean, my daughter is about to be 3 months, I'm sorry, soon. What's that feeling of her first game like?
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of emotions. Obviously, I'm looking at it from a coaching aspect. So after some time and look back at it or enjoy, you know, those moments as just a father, which is really hard for me to do because I wanted to do well, and I look at everything from a coach's perspective and how you get better. I have to mention my son first because he's the first athlete, but he plays, you know, tennis, and he did a really good job at the University of Detroit Jesuit this year, and he's on his way to Michigan. But way to go, bro. He enjoys the sport of tennis, right? But it's a difference than enjoying it and having fun with it and wanting to dominate it. That's the difference with my daughter. But I give my daughter a lot of credit. She wants to be great. I believe too is what you see every day. I have to give, you know, her mom a lot of credit because she's a great mentor for her to look at outside of the aspects of just the sports, but everyday life and how you develop into a young woman. And then you take the athletic side of it, like I like to take credit for, because she gets for me, because I was a hell of a football and basketball player. More good in basketball, but I see all the traits that I brought to the field.
And within you was all state in
football.
Football.
Yeah, for sure. So when I see those quick feet and that speed and those reactions and that high IQ, I'm like, okay, wow, that's all dad, right? So together, we've made, you know, two great individuals with the grace of God. But watching her as my daughter is just nothing more gratifying than seeing your kids develop and continue to excel in life academically and athletically. And when it's your daughter, it's just a little bit more special because it's a girl and it's my only one. And I just love her. So I love to see her excel.
Yeah, I say I'm a one and done, so I'm only gonna have my daughter, and that's just it.
I get it. I'm 2 and through, so I get that as well.
Like I like my shoes and stuff a lot. Me and Daddy's girl could go get some shoes together, call it a day. I don't need to do nothing else with nobody. But with that leads me to the next thing of what I wanted to touch base on. Like, what gave you the thought process? Well, I asked you this before, and you told me you were like, I just had to do a movie on my life, you know, like I just had to. But like from the beginning of like your story to even going with it, because obviously your story is going to continue to grow and keep going. And with the thought process of what my show means and I don't make the rules, like you literally have never defined the rules, like from the beginning, or from you playing football and being all state in football, then you go to college and play basketball. And then you leave college after doing like with basketball and knowing you could play football, and you go into just coaching, and then you go from coaching in high school from 96 to 2002, and you go straight into college. What was it? Kent State first. And like immediately going to Kent State, I know y'all had success that year as well too. So like you've went from the bottom of the totem pole to like the top of how people would, in certain people's eyes from the outside looking in, you're at the top, but then you know the ins and outs. Like you say, I was coaching mid-major basketball. I went from a high school coach to, you know, a mid-major coach. But even when you were that high school coach, you had the lowest budget. Then you went to mid-major, had the lowest budget, but you made it seem as though you had the highest budget, the best budget. So tell me about like how that like added to you wanting to have that movie.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of complex, and I might bounce a little bit, so bear with me. But it's just a unique situation, and of the levels I've been able to get to from where I had to come from. And I'm talking in particular, you're talking childhood, growing up on Dexter and Linwood, understanding you come from a drug family, right? Who at that time, that's all you knew is the streets and drugs, and survival.
Because you grew up in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Late 70s, early 80s. So that was like all I knew was the streets. That's all I saw was drugs. It wasn't ever about school when I was younger. So that's what I grew up, seeing. And then obviously if that's what you grew up seeing, that's what you grow up doing until you understand or face the ramifications of right or wrong or what could happen as a result of what you're doing. Right. So to come up, through that and then get to high school and, you're going either way. You're in the streets, you're into the athletics, and then you have someone, as my coach did, take me and give me the advice to go to school, major in education. So that's what makes it a unique situation for me to reach the levels I was able to reach after coming from where I come from and what I had to endure and what I seen and what I learned. I tell a lot of people, I learned early on in my life how to count through watching people and learning how to shoot dice, or counting money that was, retrieved because of the sale of drugs, or understanding when you're selling drugs, whether it was a 8-ball, a quarter, an ounce, how many 4 ounces make a eighth a key. An eighth a key go to a quarter key. You combine 2 quarter keys, you got a half a key. Like all of those prices from 125 to 200 to 300 to, like, I learned how to count from the street and my uncle being heavy in street lottery. So that's all I kind of knew coming up until I had to realize, like, oh, all of this is illegal. This is not reality. And if you keep going down this route, your life is going to end up like this. And that's either you're dead or you're in jail. Because that's all I seen and that's all I knew. So I was very fortunate. Again, I credit my high school coach. I credit the Cottrell family and people who kind of saw me in a different light. My high school coach saw something different. He saw something special, and he shared that with me. And at the time, I didn't understand. I heard him, but I didn't believe it fully until I continued to make an impact after leaving high school and going into college. So when you talk about the book that I was able to publish in 2019, and some people advised me, like, man, you need to write a book. You're the head coach at Eastern Michigan. People where you come from who really saw what I went through and saw what I was doing and told me I wouldn't make it to age 21, I'll be locked up or dead. Those people are the ones that said, man, what you're doing, we can't believe it. Like, this is like extremely unique and it's almost not real. I would come back to Detroit and people would still be on the block, still there, spent time in jail, came home, family members, had been shot because of drug deals. And they're like, man, Rob Murphy is actually doing something with his life. So it always gave me perspective of where I came from. And they was telling me, man, you need to tell your story. And that's what made me write the book. So it took 3.5, 4 years to write it because I learned during the process, I had to dig deep. And that's why the name of it is Deep, because I dug really deep. It was some things that I went through prior to my mother being killed that I just sat aside because I never really dealt with the death. I never went to talk to anybody about it. I almost kept it a secret. If you didn't know my mother was killed, I never said it. I never talked about it. So the book was almost therapeutic. It really broke me down. And after I wrote it and published it, I felt so much better. I was like, wow. I'm in my 40s and I'm finally getting the therapy that I once needed from way back when I was 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old. So it was really deep, right? Go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask you, at what age did if you don't mind me asking, like, did you lose your mom?
So my mom was killed. I was 13 years old. I was in the 7th grade. And, I talk about in my book, we, actually brought it to the big screen. I mean, because it's part of the story, right? And the book came from the story. Like I didn't leave nothing out. Like I share it because there's so many people. I tell everybody has a book in them.
Right.
Some may be deeper than others, but everybody has a story. Everybody has a book. We all grow through so much.
Right.
But I went through a lot. So obviously, putting it in the book with my mother being killed at 13, I never met my father. So I only knew my mother, and I had my mother and my grandmother, and then my mother's two brothers who were my uncles. That's who was raising me. But at the same time, growing up at that point, it was all street.
So let me ask you a question. I don't know if somebody ever asked you this, but like I told you prior to the show, like, you know, my dad's a street guy. I know what it's like coming from the trenches. So when you go back to the trenches, you the star of the trenches, kind of like, oh, you made it out. Don't, you know, is there a chance, and this may be a deep question, with the success that you reached and you being known as such a legend of the city of Detroit and being able to make it out from nothing, do you think there's a chance that you did meet your father without knowing you met your father, just so he could shake your hand? And you didn't even know it?
No, I never met him. Oh, no chance. Like, absolutely. I remember being young and asking my mom, you know, I wanted to meet my dad when I got old enough to understand. Dad wanted nothing to do with you. Now, my mother got pregnant with me. She was 15.
Right.
She was killed at 29.
Okay.
So she was young. She was a baby. So she was a baby. When they say babies having
babies, yeah,
that was me, right? And she was young, so obviously never graduated from high school, and she was in the streets. But it was a lot I was dealing with that I didn't know, even behind that I didn't know. You know, we're taught as young men, in particular, when you from a city like Detroit, it's like ain't no time to cry, ain't no time to like be moping, and like get to it. You know, nothing can stop you. And I think some of that, because of my mentality, always having a chip on my shoulder, not having a father, not having a mother, I still credit some of that to my success, because it made me dig deep and have the mentality of I have nobody. I have no help. So I got to figure it out, and I'm going to figure out how to be successful.
Wow, yeah. So that's definitely, I can't wait to read the book. That's going to be something special, and I can't wait to see the movie as well.
Yeah, so in the movie in particular, obviously, you know, comes from the book. So when I published the book, I started to get a lot of feedback from it, because it was obviously, you know, a national thing. It came out, you know, they talked about it on ESPN, you know, Fox Sports Radio. And I kind of did a book tour, had book signings. And from that, I had people calling me, asking me, could they buy the rights to the story? Because it's such a unique situation. You see people come out of the struggle, but not out of the struggle and then in sports, and you parlay that into leading a Division I program, or getting to the NBA and being in one of the highest executive positions in the organization, where you're a decision maker. It's just unique for it to happen. So it was, you know, big screen worthy. And, you know, as I continued to talk through it, with, you know, production companies out in LA, and a couple from Houston, Texas called me, and then Atlanta as well. I, you know, started hearing about there were great executive producers and production companies right here in Michigan. So I started doing my research there, and you know how you say God aligns different things. And I happen to be, this is a true story, I happen to be at Lifetime Fitness. I work out probably 5 or 6 days a week. And I was in the locker room and ran into Dennis Reed, who was one of the top executive producers around. He's done probably 70 to 80 movies. And we happened to start talking, very familiar with each other, but had never met. And I had been talking to different companies about my movie, so I talked to him. We actually sat in a sauna and had a conversation, and he said, well, if you really want to, you know, kind of bring this to the big screen, what you're sharing with me, come by my office and let's talk about it. That was in 2023. I was in his office that next week, and here we are 2 years later, and it has all come to fruition. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the job that Dennis Reed and DR2 Productions really did to bring it to the big screen. I learned a lot throughout the process as well. So I'm really looking forward to August 20th, movie premiere at the Royal Oak Imagine Theater. It's gonna be a great experience.
We got to make sure we clip that right there too, Mike. We got to make sure we clip that. We got to get that out there. I definitely wanted to make sure to ask those questions about that, because people always for one, I'm gonna tell you this. It's always fun to hear what the streets say. So yeah, when you became you got the position in power with the Pistons.
Okay.
The one thing that everybody said, well, everybody thought you was taking them to the Pistons. Everybody and their mama thought you was gonna get them on the Pistons at that time.
Oh yeah, that was yeah.
Everybody was you know Rob Murphy, I know Rob Murphy. He gonna get me on the Pistons, man. And so I'm saying all that to say, the one thing that I've always admired about you, and it's been one of the best things for me, but I've had people out of the state and other places tell me it could be my biggest downfall and where I'm going in my career at times, is that I give too much love to Michigan and or try to show too much love to the people from the hometown to give them an opportunity for us to grow and do something together. But when I sit here with you and we're talking about your movie and we're talking about your life story and everything else, and I mean, GOAT Media and everything, like I had people tell me, oh, you should do a podcast with me. You should do this or that, or whatever. But it's not GOAT Media that's across the street from my house. It's not like a Michigan person that I trust or whatnot. So for you, you've always kept your realness and your sincerity to like Michigan people. And from you even producing your movie, you used a Michigan person. You always wanted to get the inner city Michigan guys. Like everything you do is like so Michigan loved, you know? And I don't know if we would credit that to the Detroit spirit and what Detroit just brings in people, or what would you say that is?
Yeah, I think it's, they say if you can't go home, you can't go anywhere. I was born here in Detroit. I made my way throughout my career, obviously my youth and throughout my career. It was always special moments here in Michigan. I think everybody that's successful are comfortable with people that they know or or situations that they're familiar with. I just like to always look back and if I can give love to family, friends, and people I know, that's the first thing I do. But with that being said, you still have to be qualified. You have to be worthy of what I've ever tried to, bless you with or bring you along with. And you're right, because when you say that, when I first became the president and general manager of the Motor City Cruise, the first thing I told, Troy Weaver as the GM, when we were laying the foundation for the G League team, is we needed Michigan guys. And the first player I signed was Derek Walton Jr. Because he was a hometown guy. He had great high-level character. He was a really good player, but I wanted to start it within the hometown and give our guys continued opportunity to grow within a new professional organization. But I think it's good for, people to look out for the hometown, people to look out for people they know, but at the same time making sure they're qualified and worthy of the opportunity. And if that's the case, why not? Because that's what everybody does.
Well, I want to say thank you on like publicly for you starting that foundation with the Motor City Cruise and that thought process. Because if it wasn't for you with that thought process, my little brother John Ukamadu wouldn't have a chance right now with the Motor City Cruise. He started, kid's an NBA player. He's gonna make it. You see me at Summer League there to watch him.
Yeah, for sure.
But he didn't get the opportunity he should have gotten in college,
right?
Playing Division I. But we knew what he was capable of, so we scoped a plan for him to be able to go to the Motor City Cruise tryout last year.
Yeah,
and he made it off the tryout.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And that's a inner city Michigan kid. So sometimes in life, you're like setting something up prior to, and you don't even realize it. And down the line, it could bless the person. You don't even realize whatever.
Yeah, if they follow that blueprint.
Yeah.
And I think they have, because I was saying even in the G League, I didn't want to run it as like just a normal G League team. So even when we were talking about partners and sponsors, I was able to get UAW as the center circle. They say restaurant on the floor, Elite Education with a spot on the floor. River Rouge High School got involved. DPS was involved. And from the sponsors and partners to the players we were able to put on the floor, and even the coaches, a young coach like Marcus Stout, who was very deserving.
Stout.
Yeah, he was very deserving of an opportunity. And I remember calling him when we were talking about how can we fill this out with young coaches. And they were talking about an array of coaches around the country. And I'm like, we got one of the best, I know, workout guys right here in the city of Detroit who has earned the respect of professional and high-level college players and even high school players. And I wanted to make sure he got an opportunity to interview with Troy and Coach Casey at the time. He did a really, really good job, and we were able to get him on staff. I think he's made an unbelievable impact.
Yep.
And he's continuing to make an impact, and one day he'll be on the front of somebody's bench in the NBA,
He definitely will.
maybe a head coach one day. But that's what I'm all about, giving people here the opportunity. Again, he was qualified and he was worthy.
Yeah.
High character young man. And the same thing when you know, like I explained about the Motor City Cruise, you know, finding a local production company and DR2 with Dennis Reed, and we talk about the local talent. But even the actors and actresses that are here, you know, Q, who played me in my movie Deep, Angel Spites, Lil Blade. We had a great cast of characters that were able to bring my movie to the big screen.
Right.
And shout out to all the cast members that were in Deep, but I think all the talent here locally is exceptional in all areas. So we talk about the athletes, you talk about the musicians, you talk about acting and entertainment. I mean, we got a lot going on right here in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I think that needs to be noticed more around the country.
Detroit is the hottest city in like America right now, as far as like going up. For one, I think 68% of the patents come out of Metro Detroit. You know, realistically, we had our conversation prior to the show about some of the people we know in this area.
Yeah.
And they all live within a 10-mile radius.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, obviously you were mentioning those people, but a lot of those folks are responsible for downtown Detroit and the comeback of it.
Yeah.
You know, when I was growing up, I mean, you know, you had the Hudson building and Sears and all of that. When you go up and down Woodward, that was late 70s, early 80s, but then that was all torn down. And for a long time, you couldn't even walk downtown Detroit because there was a lot going on down there and it wasn't safe. But the resurgence in the past 10 years has been incredible.
Yeah.
And to be able to just go down there and, you know, it's so much going on. You have so many opportunities to do whatever you want to do. I thought it was brilliant for the Pistons to move from Auburn Hills back down here. So now you have all the professional teams downtown. So now we have 6 professional teams in the city. When you talk Tigers, Lions, the Pistons, the Motor City Cruise, the Detroit Amps, the 3-on-3 team. And then you talk about the Detroit Red Wings. And then here comes the WNBA in 2029. So now we'll have 7 professional teams right here in our city, downtown Detroit. So you're right, we're on fire. So when you talk about big cities, you always mention LA, Chicago, New York, Miami, but Detroit is right there. When you come in here, it's a lot of entertainment and it's a lot to do, and all our teams are doing really well, which is exceptional as well.
Speaking of teams doing well, we got to touch base on college. We got Michigan. Michigan, they done got a natty in the last couple of years in football.
For sure.
And you got Michigan State. They did pretty well in basketball this past year. So what's your thought process on Michigan sports as far as college? Like, where would you rank the college sports within Michigan amongst everybody else throughout the country with our NIL and things like that? Are we one of those places where you think we can just about get anybody at this point?
Well, I mean, Michigan is Michigan, great tradition and history. I think, obviously Coach Moore and Coach Dusty May, you talk about the huge revenue sports in football and basketball. Both are incredible coaches. Both are incredible recruiters. But then obviously Tom Izzo being a Hall of Fame coach and one of the icons of the game. Michigan State football, I'm sure they're not where they want to be, but they're on their way to where they should be. So when you talk about Michigan State, they can compete with anybody around the country. I mean, obviously the SEC and the ACC, those
Go Bulldogs.
Yeah, you're a Georgia fan. They're pretty good, but I think when you have an iconic Tom Izzo, you have a young Dusty May who's competitive, and you have Michigan, who is Michigan, having like a Bryce Underwood who was or is an elite level talent who's going to grow into one of the best quarterbacks, hopefully into the future, and go on and make his mark. And it's hard to do, but be the next, let's say, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the talent is here, and you have the ability to go out and get it because you're spending the money. You can continue to be competitive. So I think the Michigan sports, and in particular, Michigan State is right where they should be, and they're competing at a high level.
So here's another interesting thing. Put NIL back when you got Antonio Gates and all those guys. do you think you're able to make the move that you do with Kent State at that time and all those, or do you guys think you're even better at that point because you getting inner city guys and they know who you are and how
Yeah,
you move?
so for me, NIL has cut out a lot of opportunity for young coaches like myself in that position.
Okay.
Because what I'm learning and what I'm seeing is now money talks.
Okay.
When I was coming up through the ranks, you were looking to hire a coach for a certain area that really helped you. So by me being one of the hottest young coaches in Detroit and being part of an AAU team, college coaches always knew this guy's gonna have the relationships.
Yeah.
He's won state titles. He's created this AAU team, and everybody in the state he's connected with.
Right.
So for me to get a job, they knew I could go back and recruit. Well, in today's athletics, that's not as important. Relationships are not as important because the money now trumps that. So it's a gift and a curse. It's really good for the athletes, but guys that are high school coaches, such as myself, are trying to make it, it's going to be tough unless you have a relationship with somebody trying to pull you up. And that's why I always try to do that no matter what the situation was.
Yeah.
Give people opportunity. But now it's all about the money. It's not about the relationship. College athletics, as we know, has become a business, and money always talks.
Unfortunately, I agree with you 1,000% with that. And then also, I'll say, like, because of the money, it's fucked with the relationships. Because, like, there's a lot of kids that, like, I genuinely have known since they're 16, 17. And it's like, I'm not, like, yes, we're going to make some money together throughout the NIL process or whatnot. But, like, I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this because I actually understand you as a person. And I know that you don't want to go to the state of Oregon to play basketball when you really only like being in Florida. You know, like it's like specific things that, you know, and so from that standpoint, now we have social media. And so it's like, okay, well, these people have 10,000 followers and very good graphics. And it's like, okay, just because they got 10,000 followers and good graphics, are they going to put you in a good place?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so like that's been like my biggest issue, especially with me only being 28. I feel like I kind of, it's different from where you were at as far as with coaching, but it's very similar in a lot of ways because we're both fighting up ranks and we're trying to, you know, deal with the bigger fish in the ocean or the pond or whatever.
Yes, and two, NIL has caused, again, I guess this goes in line with what I just spoke about, the loyalty to slip away.
Yeah.
So you have this great relationship that you've built over 3 or 4 years. Everybody always thinks the grass is greener, or some of these folks think that another person or a company that may not be here or that they may not know can do more for them than you can.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been about relationships, right? I build them genuinely. And then when the time comes, if I can help you, I'm going to help you.
Right.
But it's a lot of people, Nate, that are not qualified and don't understand the game. And they're looking at it as just this is a way to make some money.
Yeah.
And that's where the kids are being led the wrong way.
I blame the parents as well, too, though, because it's a lot of parents that are right there in between where it's like, yeah, I know that these people are good that can help you, but these people talking about this bag over here. And it's like, as good as the bag can sound, it's a reason why God didn't bless you specifically with that bag because of the thought process of how you, I don't want to like sound so harsh with it.
Yeah, no,
but like
I get it.
but like that's kind of how it comes to me. Like for instance, with me being like a new father now,
Okay.
like I work in NIL and I manage guys and all this stuff. Well, if Mila gets an opportunity to go to Juilliard or whatever, to dance or whatever, and they're like, oh, 50 million, like, and I only got $1 to my name, like, yeah, 50 million sounds good.
Right.
But like, am I putting my daughter in a bad situation with these people where that 50 million is going to take away her soul?
Yeah, I understand that because you still want to do things for the right reason.
Exactly.
Right? But I think what's happening is, you know, all these student athletes are being led in a different direction or in the wrong direction. So for me, being even in the NIL space, giving that advice and helping, you know, athletes understand, whether it's football or basketball, no matter what the money is, the first thing you have to do is still talk about how do I fit? Because you can go somewhere and make a quick buck or some quick money for a year or two. but you still have to set yourself up for the long haul, right?
Yeah.
Am I picking this space and I'm gonna continue to grow? And I think too, everybody again, they just start thinking about the money. Can I get the bag and how much money I can make? And the fit is not as important. Everybody that I've advised from an NIL standpoint, that's the first thing we've talked about. Can you grow in this situation? Is there a fit? Is there a need? What type of style are they playing? What type of coach are you playing for?
Right.
I know we don't talk about graduation anymore, but I still talk to these young men about the business of college basketball, but still getting your degree. If you plan to go make money and put yourself in a position where you're not stressing to go to the NBA or the NFL, or make your money, save your money, that's a whole nother financial component to it, but also put yourself in position to get your degree. So when you leave, you can continue to work. But my thing is always fit. And if it's the right fit, we can figure out how to go get the money. Right.
Yeah.
So you can find 4 fits actually and kind of figure out how to get to the money and find out what, your worth is. But I think, with NIL, it's a complex, complicated thing to navigate right now.
Right.
Because it's so many colleges that have different opinions.
Right.
When we talking about head coaches, you're talking about collectives. Some coaches believe in it. Some coaches want to give, players the bag, and some coaches are still against it, but are being forced to give players money and not really believing in it, but they're trying to keep up with what's going on in the sport. So you're almost forced to do it. So you got to navigate all of those situations when you're in this space, and there's nothing more important than having relationships and getting real information.
Yeah.
A lot of time these parents look at the bag, but they're getting false information. So they get the false information. They send you the contract, whether it's from revenue sharing or whether it's from the collective. The wording in it is so important. So you got to make sure you have somebody that's qualified looking at it.
Exactly.
So you don't sign a bad deal. You may thinking you're signing for X amount of dollars, but it's backloaded. You get in the portal, you may never even get to the money. Or it can be a clause in there that they can use against you to stop paying you before midway through the season. Like, so when you hear that number, and I tell guys, don't get caught up in the number and don't believe nothing until the contract is read by a qualified attorney or somebody with the experience of reading contracts and negotiating contracts, because you can find yourself signing something and not getting any of your money. But more importantly, not even growing in the space to get better, to even go earn somewhere else. You can really be going backwards if you make a bad decision. But that's my thing. So I get calls all the time. Some I take, some I turn down. Because like you said, for me, it's not really about the money. It's putting people in the space and in the place to excel from an academic standpoint, from an athletic standpoint, and then make your money and continue to get better and get to where you're trying to go.
So what would you say would be one of your best moments in your coaching career? Like, obviously you had a ton of them. I know
it's
you
hard.
want to say that Crockett.
That Crockett was big. That was huge. But I think, winning the state championship at Central High School was huge. Winning the state championship at Crockett was huge.
You won Coach of the Year too in the MAC, right?
Yeah, I was able to win Coach of the Year in the MAC, but getting a call to go to Syracuse and walking into Coach Boeheim's office for that interview, and then him saying to me, "Welcome to Syracuse."
Yeah, that's
man.
hard.
That at that time, because you got to remember Syracuse basketball. You was top.
You there with Melo?
No, I came a year after Melo.
Okay.
But at that time, Syracuse basketball, that era of Syracuse basketball, like, that was like being at Duke.
Yeah.
It was Duke, Kansas, Kentucky, Syracuse. It was Arizona out west. Like, it was nothing like being at Syracuse.
Who was the point guard you guys had? It was a dark-skinned guy. Like,
we had Johnny Flynn.
Yeah, that's what Johnny Flynn.
Jardine. Yeah, we had some really good point guards. And then, Eric Devendorf. I said to people, if you can't go back home, you can't go anywhere. So getting a Syracuse job, I walked right into Syracuse with a McDonald All-American and Eric Devendorf. So that moment, I was on my rise. But for a Hall of Fame coach to give me that opportunity to work at Syracuse, one of the top 5 or 10 programs at that time in the country in the history.
I think ever.
Yeah, in college basketball.
Yeah.
I had to pinch myself for 2 years. The first year, I still couldn't believe I was there, because you got to think I was there, but I'm still thinking about where I come from.
Yeah.
I'm in front of 30,000, and I'm like,
because this is what, 2005,
2005, 2006, 2004 through 2011.
So you got there in 2004. Realistically, you started coaching in 96.
Yeah,
so that's like an 8-year spread. Like, that's realistically like me thinking about right now, where I'm at right now, to basically my junior year of college, right when I dropped out of college for NIL.
Yes, crazy. The run was crazy, but to be there, 30,000, and I'm like, I cannot. I had so many moments that I would think about Dexter and Linwood.
Yeah.
And being on my Uncle Skeeter's shoulders and watching him roll dice, you know, being in a corridor or a hallway of a 4-family flat that was abandoned. That I had so many moments. I'm like, I cannot believe I am coaching at Syracuse University. God is so amazing.
Yeah.
Like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
I thought that I was close to dying, because I'm like, this is it.
Right.
I can't do anything else in my life.
Right.
This is it, because I love Syracuse basketball. I fell in love with Syracuse basketball when Derek Coleman was at Detroit Northern.
Okay.
I was in the 7th and 8th grade, and I saw him play, and he was dominate. So I didn't love Michigan or Michigan State. I loved Magic Johnson, but I didn't love the home schools at that time.
Right.
I was in love with Syracuse.
Yeah.
So for it to come full circle, for me to sit on that bench and then grow, and then ultimately becoming a head coach at Eastern Michigan University, 40 minutes from where I grew up, with all that I had been through, and then you take it a step further, and then I started working for the Detroit Pistons, the NBA franchise.
Yeah.
Like, come on, Nate.
You done been to the highest of high in basketball.
Come on, man. Like, what? I'm good. If I died tomorrow, I'm good. I'm going to heaven. I'm a happy person. I really did it.
Yeah.
And now I've continued to make strides and continue to do it, because I got so much more in me.
Right.
And I'm still making an impact in so many lives through my foundation, through my book, through Deep that's coming on the big screen. And I'm still giving back. And I'm just in a happy space and place right now in my life. But as I look back at the journey from the time that I can remember, when I was 4 years old until now, I've lived an incredible life.
Yeah.
Hasn't always been great. Hasn't always been easy. It's like the roller coaster. It's the ups and downs. But are you resilient in the moments? Do you keep 2 feet on the floor and continue to bloom where you planted at each and every stop in order to keep executing to get to your next level of your success? And I've been able to do that through the grace of God. I've been really, really fortunate, man. Really fortunate. And I tell young guys like yourself, like, 2 feet, bloom where you planted. Everybody want it quick. Everybody want it yesterday. In today's world, because of the social media, we see so much, right? But if you can just put 2 feet and bloom exactly where you planted, and learn the importance of execution, right? Execution is worshiped. I don't care what level you're at. I don't care who you're working for, who you're working with. If you're able to execute, there will always be opportunity for you. And people will always look at you and give you opportunity. That's why I've been able to get the jobs I've gotten, contrary to what people may think. It's a lot of people that could have did what I did, I believe. Not everybody, but a lot of people. But as I look back, when I was hired at Kent State was Detroit was a hotbed for recruiting. They heard I was one of the top coaches, and Antonio Gates was on their roster. So they looked at me as, this is somebody that can help us continue to get to Antonio Gates while he's here, because he's our top player. But also, this guy can go back and recruit players from Detroit. And I was able to execute that, whether it was Jay Youngblood, keeping DeAndre Haynes there, Marcus Crenshaw, Isaac Knight, and whomever else I recruited, even Scott Culley, going to recruit him out in California at the time. People don't know who that is, but he was a really good player. But I've been known throughout my career to execute, man.
Yeah.
You got to execute. You can talk about it. It can be a vision. Even this movie.
Right.
That's coming out. I was talking about it and people were talking about it. Oh no, on August 20th, it's gonna be on the big screen. I was able to execute that.
Yeah.
I was able to execute and publish a book in 2019.
Right.
I was able to execute and win games at Eastern Michigan. I was able to put things in place with the Detroit Pistons, with being Weaver's assistant general manager, director, player personnel, president, and general manager of the G League team at the time. I was able to execute in those positions.
Right.
So everybody asked me, how did you get to where you, well, it's by the grace of God, but I have an ability to focus and really execute a plan and make sure it comes through and bring it to fruition. So I advise all the young, folks or the young audience, you can talk about it,
but you got to be about it.
You got to be about it,
That's
man.
crazy. Well, I tell my nephew, and everybody, my nephew, he's 15. Shout out to Christian. But he was like my first, like, he was my kid. But, me and my older sister are really close. So when she had my nephew, we grew up in my house. And so my nephew was always my inspiration of, I never want to be a shoulda, coulda. I just got to do it.
Yeah.
And what you said, you've been very fortunate. I sat in that same exact spot a couple months back, and I told everybody that we had to change our wording. We know God has been very good to us. It's not fortunate, it's favor. He gives us a ton of favor.
Yeah.
And so certain people have more favor than others.
Yeah.
And I feel you 1,000%. A lot of people could try to have a podcast and get people on there or whatever, but it's a certain way to how certain things are done.
Yeah.
With your life being favored in X amount of years. So like when I looked at your timeline from 96 to 04, you're inner city Detroit coaching in the hood, the trenches.
Yes.
And then you're at Syracuse, and it like I said, it gave me so much inspiration, because it was like, for me, 2020, I lost my grandmother. I dropped out of college. I didn't think that college was like good for me based on what I wanted to do. All types of crazy stuff happened, right? And then fast forward, I look at my life at 2025, that same college professor, shout out to you, Dave Hudson, I love you to death. He told me, he said, you don't need me for what you're trying to do. I don't know where the world is going, but you sitting at Rochester College isn't going to help me or help you. Like, you're literally so invested into what you're trying to do, and I don't know specifically what you're trying to do in sports, but I can't help you. But you got something special. And luckily, I was at a Christian college, so it wasn't so unheard of for somebody to be talking to you with faith and something, and that's why I say I'm really blessed for that as well. But if it wasn't for that specific moment, I didn't know, you look back in 2019, 2018, I'm in a classroom with maybe 19 kids from some everywhere. You fast forward 2025, I'm in NBA Summer League, and I'm with 40 NBA superstars.
Yeah, I saw you down there. You was shaking and moving. I said, look at me. He's doing his thing. It's impressive, like, to hear that. But you believe, too.
Yeah.
Right? Some people don't even believe. Like, you got to really believe in yourself, believe in what you're doing. And I talk about executing, but the first thing to execution is the vision and the belief. Like, you can see it. Do you believe you really can do it? And you got to put that first step, forward. And a lot of other things that people deal with is the doubt, right? You can never have that doubt or listen to people who don't believe that you can or they can.
Right.
And then you have to deal with the people that, in this business of basketball, you deal with haters, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's always going to be that, right? But I never allow that to get to me, because people are always going to have something negative to say. You know what I mean? And I'm a big Jay-Z guy, right? My intro to the book is, I talk about Jay-Z in there and how I grew up with him through his music. So a lot of times, a lot of things he say, so I'm the head coach at Eastern Michigan, and people, no matter where you talk about the run from 96 to 2004, that was an unbelievable run, right? Those stops. But even when you get to Eastern Michigan as a head coach and you're close to home, you still hear about the naysayers. Forget about the accomplishment or where I come from and what I did or what I've done and what I'm doing. It was more so, he not going to win. He not going to do this. He not going to do that. And I'm saying to myself, what I'm doing is incredible. If I lose every game from here on out for the rest of my career,
I did more than what y'all did.
And it ain't even about them. I've really done it. Like the favor in that.
Yeah.
And like Jay-Z said, because the song is already home. Because I was already home at the time. I had made it all the way back home. From the hood and what we're talking about to Kent to Syracuse. I'm like, man, I'm already home. And it's like that song resonated during my time at Eastern because it was so much doubt. And how he would say, we're not even the same, we're not in the same bracket.
Yeah.
Like, we don't, and the lyrics, I don't even have to say, but if you listen to Already Home, it's like I was there.
Yeah, I gotta go listen to it.
You ain't listen. Are you, who you listen to?
I listen to a lot of Tupac.
Okay.
Like
Pac is good.
Yeah, like my dad and Tupac got the same birthday.
Pac is, so you familiar with Straight Ballin'?
Yeah, I got that downloaded.
Okay, yeah. So that's a song that resonated. I was in college, and everything he was saying, I lived it.
Yeah.
And everything he was saying, like, so I grew up, I'm a music guy, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes I even go back. I was listening to Pac probably last week, and the Straight Ballin' is when you said Pac, that's why Straight Ballin' come right, because I just heard it. It's on my playlist.
So this would be something, obviously national Navy stuff like that. I always looked up to World Wide West.
Okay,
yeah. I went to school with his son. Shout out to Blizzy. That's my boy. And I talked to Wes on FaceTime because of Stan like about a month ago or whatever. And sometime me and Wes get on the phone, whatever.
Yeah.
But point is, I always look up to Wes. And when I met Wes in 2018, he said, wow, you're the spitting image of me. You remind me a lot of myself. And for you to hear that from one of your heroes, it always like it. You know, same thing from Rich Paul. They told me the same thing. But I say all that to say, Jay-Z's lyrics, shout out to World Wide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
No question.
You know, that's like, that's always a lyric for me.
Yeah.
Because everybody, like, when they were National Navy, they know no matter where we go.
You know, when it was worldwide mess. So Wes, obviously, you mentioned Wes, you mentioned Rich Paul. And again, you got to remember, I knew Rich Paul from back before it was Clutch Sports.
Right.
You know, I remember Rich Paul was before he started working at CAA.
Yeah.
You know, Rich, I'll tell you this to this day, his first client was Johnny Flynn out of Syracuse.
Okay.
Our point guard. That's the first guy that Rich Paul ever signed in his agent career.
Okay.
Right. So we had a great relationship since prior to that, before he got into the agent space, when it was just the Four Horsemen, and what he's done with his vision and his belief and his ability to execute and his ability to bring that whole thing together is nothing short of phenomenal. And then obviously Wes, what the impact he's made all over the world, right?
Yeah.
But even, you know, Wes, he encouraged me as a young coach. My first agency was CAA.
Okay.
And it was because Wes said, man, you one of the young guys in this business. You want to be a head coach, you know, one day. And when I became the head coach at Eastern Michigan, at that time, I was with CAA and Wes. So when you talk about relationships and the people you're naming are some of the people I knew and watched grow at some time or another aligned with to help, and they helped me. So I tell people it's all about who you know. But yeah, and going back to just the Jay-Z lyrics and understanding, going back to Already Home and people having doubt and being against you and hating, you got to just make sure like you don't allow that to tear you down, and you continue to believe, because nothing is easy, right? I like, you look at the run I had from year to year to year and what I've been able to do and get to the highest level. I make it look easy. I tell people all the time, this wasn't.
Yeah, it's 365 days in every year.
Yeah, so, I make it look that way. Well, man, you seem like, nah, man, this was really, really hard. But when you're going through it, and you really day to day taking every step, one foot in front of the other, avoiding those obstacles and sometimes having to jump over them or just deal with them head on. If you just stay the course,
everything will work out.
Everything gonna work out, no matter what you go through. And through life, you're gonna have some ups and downs.
Yeah.
you gonna have some tragedies, you gonna have some things that cross your plate that you gonna say, damn, how did this happen?
Right.
Or what is going on? But you gotta understand, God allows everything to happen for a reason.
Yep.
And if you believe that, you gotta believe it when it's at its greatest
And when it's at its worst.
and when it's at its worst. And that's how I live my life, and that's how I've been able to continue to rise above no matter what's going on in my life, man. I've been in a situation where, like you said, it's favor. God has really put favor on my life, and I'm really fortunate and happy that I'm able to say that and live it.
Yeah, I can honestly say this is the first episode, Mike, that I've never had to have the specific moment where I said, well, what was your I don't make the rules moment? Your entire life is the I don't make the rules moment.
Oh,
and,
I don't.
And
Trust me, I don't.
And that is like the most gratifying thing for the whole episode of anything. Anybody you want to shout out? Any last things you want to say or tell anybody or whatever?
I'd like to thank our sponsors, the Elite Group Learning Service Center, the Horatio Williams Foundation, Moneyball Sportswear, They Say Restaurant, Building Better Men. Oh, yeah. Shout out to Erica Banks, one of the best publicists around. If anybody's looking for a high-level person that's going to guide them and lead them and get them where they're trying to go in all areas of publication, entertainment, PR, call Erica Banks. It's only one.
It's only one.
Her name is Erica Banks.
Yeah. Well, with that being said.
So we looking forward to August 20th. It's the release of Deep, Royal Oak Imagine Theater, 6 p.m. sharp, red carpet movie to follow. We're going to have an incredible time. You're going to see a great story. It's riveting, captivating, exciting, has some drama to it. You'll see my ability to lead, mentor, and even give back to the community through the Rob Murphy Foundation. But we're excited about the premiere. Again, August 20th, the release of Deep, the Royal Oak Imagine, 6 p.m. sharp, red carpet.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to be dressed.
Yeah, dressed to impress.
Yeah.
A couple people have asked me, like, well, what should I wear at? Man, come as you please. But a lot of people are looking forward to the event itself, dressing up and having a good time. So I want everybody to come and how they feel comfortable.
Right.
And we're going to have a great time.
Well, I'm going to tell you this, OG. I go to UAD games in a mink coat and play courtside sometimes. So you don't got to worry about me. I'm going to be right there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having you and bring your friends. And we really going to have a good time. We put a lot into this premiere. And when it hits the live streaming services, people around the country will be really excited and really happy of what they're able to see. But looking forward to getting the feedback and what people are taking from it. There's so many aspects of my life from obviously when I was 4 or 5 years old until now. But I think it's a really captivating story in itself. And you will see a lot of the ups and downs and the successes. And
all right, cool. Yeah, I can't wait to read it. I just got kicked off PlayStation Network for the next month, so I'm going to definitely be reading the book, man. You don't got to worry about it.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, Nate. I really do, man. I watch what you do. I watch the relationships you build. And again, to see you down at Summer League in the company that you were with, right? Because I know you. But sometimes it's the company you keep. That means those people are entrusted in you as well. So that means you're on your way to getting to your highest level of success. And I look at that. So congratulations to all you're doing. Thanks for having me on. And I think you do a really, really good job in all aspects of what you're trying to do.
I appreciate you for real. Like I told you, I look up to you. You're a mentor, a leader in our community, a legend in our community. And if the world could get 10 more Rob Murphys, we hope we could.
Yeah,
man.
appreciate it. Thank you.
With that being said, shout out to Go Media. Shout out to my daughter, Mila. You're my princess. I love you. Shout out to Mike. I appreciate you. Pierre. Damn, I got a lot of people. My guys on Pluto, Power Play Sports, all the people behind me, and what y'all do to push me. And most importantly, number one, shout out, appreciate you, Jesus, for letting me be here. Because, Lord, I wouldn't be here without you. So, with that being said, that's a wrap for I Don't Make the Rules. And I'll catch y'all next time.